All right, I'm going to take a look at radical form versus rational form. I've put one example up, the cube root of 25 squared, and I've written it two other ways. So I can square the cube root, that's the first thing, or I could square 25 and then take the cube root, that would be the second version here. This one here. Or I could rewrite it as a rational exponent. And what happens when I rewrite the rational exponent is that the index, so the 3 here, the cube, is referred to as the index. And the index tells you how many repeating factors you need. In this case, we need 3 repeating factors. And that index will always end up being in the denominator. So if I have some base that I'm raising to a rational power, the index I'm always going to put in the denominator. And the exponent itself, the exponent in the radical form, the 2, goes in the numerator. So this 2 here, the thing that I'm squaring, or rather the number that tells me what power I'm raising the base to, goes in the numerator. So I'll put power over here in my little formula. So the base, whatever the base is, I am going to raise it to a power divided by the index. And we'll talk a little bit more about those repeating factors and what they look like in a separate video where I'll simplify some radical and rational expressions. The other thing that I want to talk about is a coefficient versus the base. And so the coefficient, remember, is the number that you're multiplying something by. So for example, 3x, that 3 is the coefficient. I'm multiplying a factor by 3, multiplying x by 3, 3 times x. In my expression that I have written here, the 5 times 6, that's being raised to the 2/3 power. The 5 is the coefficient. The number that we're raising to a power is called the base. So it's the 6 here, the 6, that's being affected by the 2/3 power. 5 is not. I'm going to raise 6 to the 2/3 power, and when I'm done with that, I'll multiply the whole thing by 5. So right now I've written that expression in rational form. I'm going to rewrite it in radical form, and you may be able to see the coefficient a little bit better. So here's the 5. It's 5 times. So remember that index is the number in the denominator. So I'm taking a cube root here, cube root of 6. So the 6 goes in the underneath the radical sign. And I think I'll just put the 2 under the radical sign, so it's being squared. So this 2 is what I'm raising 6 to the power of. All right, so the base is the number that you are raising to an exponent. So raising it to a power divided by an index, or just raising it to an integer power. The coefficient is the number in front. You're multiplying at the end 5 times the cube root of 6 squared.